This morning, President Donald Trump says he is prepared to send troops to Minneapolis as protests continue over federal immigration enforcement operations.
Chris Sadeghi is with us in studio right now. So tensions still high in that city. You can see with the video we were just looking at, not just between protesters and ICE agents, but now between state and local officials and the White House over the federal response.
Yeah, a lot of tension going on, a lot of things happening here, Kara. 12 days now since the shooting of Renee Good. The tensions in Minnesota seem to only be growing stronger with more demonstrations against ICE, including some planned right here in North Texas. ABC News reports that 1,500 Army paratroopers are on standby in Minnesota in case President Trump decides to deploy them to Minneapolis, where protesters are still taking to the streets to demonstrate against ICE and demand accountability for the ICE agent who shot Renee Good. The Department of Homeland Security maintains the shooting was justified. Adding to the anger, some attorneys say they're not being allowed to meet with their clients detained by ICE, something DHS says is untrue. And now the administration taking aim at Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey investigating them for obstructing the work of federal agents with their public comments against ICE. But Frey joined ABC This Week on Sunday and was not backing down.
There are other countries where you get put away for the things that you say. There are other countries where you get investigated for saying something that runs counter to what the federal government states. But in this country, it's not that way.
In some of these demonstrations, we've seen agents deploy tear gas to disperse the crowds. A federal judge in Minnesota ruled that tear gas cannot be used if those protesters do remain peaceful.
You've seen demonstrations in Minnesota. You've seen them across the country. We've got some scheduled in our area. What can folks here expect on the ground in North Texas?
Well, these ICE protests coinciding with tomorrow, the 1-year anniversary of President Trump's inauguration. And across the country, there are walkouts planned. People expected to walk out of work and school to take part in these demonstrations. The website Free America says those walkout demonstrations will happen in Arlington, Fort Worth, and Lancaster, among other places, and a Stop ICE terror protest scheduled tomorrow at Dallas City Hall.
All right, thank you for the update, Chris. Still ahead this morning on Daybreak, ABC's Matt Rivers will join us from Minneapolis after several days of covering the developing story on the ground there. We're going to hear from him at 6:40.